guided by the fighter mentor. There comes a moment when most people disappear, and the strangest thing is that they keep walking, they keep working, they keep talking, they keep smiling, but they're no longer truly present. This disappearance doesn't happen all at once. It happens little by little. Every time you do something without really being there, every time you end a day without remembering how it began, every time haste takes the place of awareness. That's how many people waste years without realizing they've missed out on important parts of them. Not because they made a single disastrous choice, but because they kept putting off being fully present in small, everyday decisions. A day lived purely on autopilot seems harmless. Then comes another, and another. When you look back, the feeling isn't just that time flew by. It's that many moments were simply passed through without ever truly being experienced. Important conversations were left unfinished. Opportunities went unnoticed, and even small joys lost their place amid the rush. Life kept going, but your consciousness was no longer keeping pace. That's how time ceases to be a memory and becomes merely a sequence of days that existed but were almost never truly lived. If this makes sense to you, give it a like, click the bell icon, and subscribe to the channel. Discipline isn't just for organizing tasks. It exists to keep you from disappearing into your own routine. Because a routine without presence doesn't build a life. It only builds repetition. It was that very same principle that came into play at a center for restoring old photographs on a lighted table. Images marked by the passage of time waited patiently to recover some of what they had lost. There were faded portraits, torn edges, stains at faces, and details nearly erased by the years. Whoever did that work never began by trying to fix everything at once. First, they would observe each photograph in silence. They sought to understand what could still be preserved before deciding what needed to be reconstructed. A hasty adjustment could erase an important memory forever. That's why every move was made at just the right time. First, understand, then intervene. Only then could they restore clarity to what seemed doomed to disappear. Over time, it became clear. The biggest problems almost never appeared suddenly. They gave small warnings. An image, a different color, a torn edge. Those who learned to notice these signs early on almost never had to deal with major losses later. The mind also sends signals. The problem is that almost no one slows down enough to notice them before reaching the point of burnout. It usually gives subtle warnings. Irritation that arises for no apparent reason, a growing difficulty in staying focused, fatigue that doesn't go away even after rest, or a constant feeling of being present everywhere except in the moment you're actually living. But since we almost always respond by speeding up even more, these signals end up being ignored until body and mind can no longer sustain the same pace. There's a huge difference between being tired and being disconnected from yourself. Tiredness calls for rest. Disconnection calls for presence. It was during a kayaking trip, even before the sun had fully risen, that this principle took on a new form. The river seemed calm, but anyone familiar with that stretch knew that the current could change without warning. One paddled without trying to overcome the water by force. Instead, one kept one's eyes fixed far ahead. One did not look at every little wave. One's gaze remained fixed on the point one wanted to reach. Whenever they shifted their attention to the movement of the water right in front of the kayak, the paddles lost their rhythm and the boat began to spin slowly. But when they returned their gaze to the entire course, their movements regained their precision. The current remained the same. So did the wind. What changed was where his attention was focused. At the end of the crossing, it became clear that balance almost never comes from trying to control everything. It comes from the ability to maintain direction even when the path keeps shifting. The mind does exactly the same thing. When it focuses solely on the small problems of the moment, everything seems bigger than it really is. But when it regains its direction, even the difficulties no longer seem capable of interrupting the journey. It's curious. Almost everyone waits for chaos to strike before they change. Few learn to recognize its onset, and that's precisely where the difference lies. Later, in an escape room, that same principle emerged in an unexpected way. The doors closed. The timer started counting down. The first few minutes went exactly as they do for almost every group. Hands rushing back and forth. Drawers open all at once. Objects scattered everywhere. Everyone trying to solve everything at once. The more they rushed, the harder it became to see what really mattered. Then one person did something that seemed completely out of place. She stopped. She took a breath. She looked around the entire room before touching anything else. While the others reacted to each new detail, she began looking for patterns. She realized that several clues didn't even need to be solved right then. Others were interconnected, and some distractions existed solely to waste time. From that point on, the group stopped rushing. They began to choose. Every move became intentional. The clock kept ticking, but anxiety no longer dictated the next step. When the door finally opened, no one celebrated just because they left the room. They celebrated because they understood something. Time is almost never the greatest enemy. The greatest enemy is letting haste think for you. Perhaps discipline is exactly that, the adjustment that no one values, but without which no vision remains clear. Breathe now, slowly. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out. Ask yourself, how long have you been living without truly noticing the path you're on? Some people spend years waiting for a major change. Others change their own lives because they've learned to notice small deviations before they become their destiny. Consistency may not mean repeating the same thing every day. Perhaps it means rediscovering what you've stopped seeing, because those who observe better make better choices. Those who make better choices live better. In the end, a life rarely changes because of a single major event. It changes when you stop going through the motions and start being fully present with every step that truly matters. Because true transformation almost never comes as an extraordinary moment. It arises from quiet choices that no one sees, from the small decisions to remain mindful when it would be easier to act on impulse, and from the courage to break patterns that no longer make sense. Little by little, your attention stops being swept away by everything happening around you and begins to follow a direction you've chosen. It's in this process that your days stop feeling like just a sequence of obligations and start to form a story built with intention. And when that happens, time stops simply passing by. It finally begins to work in favor of the person you're deciding to become.